Hi, I'm Allyson Lewis with the 7-Minute Life, and we are here for this webinar to teach you how to use the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner. This book changed my life, and it started in 2006 when my time management was so out of control that I needed something to help. And as the founder of the 7-Minute Life, I want you to know that probably I'm the person that struggled the most with time management and still do. It will be an ongoing learning session for all of us to have time to do the things that are most important. And before we get started with this webinar, I want to say that tonight is not going to be about what the problems are of time management necessarily. It's not even going to be about what to do to improve your time management. The fact is, we all know what we need to do. We've been told for years what we need to do to improve our time management. For example, we've got to somehow clarify our objectives. We've got to have a plan of action. We have to clearly know what we want to do and what the timelines are and the deadlines. And we have to have roles and responsibilities, and then we have to prioritize those tasks. We have to get rid of the clutter and get rid of the disorganization in our lives. And I think all of us know what that means. I think we all know what we need to do. The problem is, I didn't know how to do that. For more than 40 years, I knew what to do. I just didn't have the tools to do them. So what we'll be talking about today is some of the what, but primarily the how. The question is, you've wanted to improve your time management for years. You've known what you need to do. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to do that. So let's go ahead and get started of how can this single tool help you? The first question that we get is, what is this 7-minute thing? Why is it called the 7-Minute Life? And the reason it's called the 7-Minute Life deals with attention span. It's how long you can pay attention to working on a task. And the average attention span is somewhere for 2 seconds to 20 minutes. And I think 20 minutes is stretching it for most of us, but the science shows that the average person can pay attention for as little as 2 seconds, which you've had happen all the time. It wasn't long ago that I was looking for my glasses and I was wearing them. So we can go from 2 seconds to when you're really in the flow and really in the zone of doing something that you love, you may be able to focus your attention up to 20 minutes. And so why do we have this 7-minute idea? And I hope that you're taking notes. We will be sending out the handouts as well. But the 7-minute life comes from the fact that our lives live within this construct of moment by moment, minute by minute. And there are 24 hours in every day. That's all we have. And those 24 hours break down into 1,440 minutes. And those 1,440 minutes, the 7-minute life, we're going to ask you to take 1% of that day. 1% every day. 1% of your life to plan, 1% of your time to create better time management skills, to do the prioritizing, to do the planning, to clarifying what exactly you want to do. So if there are 24 hours in a day and 1,440 minutes, and we ask you to take 1% of that time, that's 14 minutes a day. 14 minutes a day, which breaks down into 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning. Now, what are you supposed to do during those 7 minutes? It is hard to imagine that we can't even slow down long enough to take 7 minutes to decide who we want to be. I think the world is such a noisy place now that it's hard to break through the clutter for even just a few minutes to really think. And as we go through this class, I really want you to stay through the end, because I'm going to be sharing some additional tools and things that you will want to have as opportunities to learn more about how time management affects you and what you can do to make your time management better. There are 24 hours in a day, 1,440 minutes. In this class, the how you can do it is take 1% of your time. That's 14 minutes a day. That's 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning. I want to start with the very basics of what is time management. Time management is a process, and I'm just going to take this step by step. We all know that time management is a process, that if you're going to improve your time management, you have to have systematic, repeatable processes. That creates efficiency. So time management is a process, and it's a process of planning. Now, I want to stop right there and say planning is a word that's really raises the hair on the back of the neck of a lot of people, because really, who wants to sit down and take 8 hours to create some kind of business plan or some kind of plan? Planning is a tough word, but in time management, you have to think strategically and look at it from where you are today to where you want to be, and you have to plan out with intention what you're going to do. So time management is a process of planning the length of time. That's all that time management is processing and planning the length of time. You have 24 hours. How much time are you going to spend? So it's planning the length of time that you're going to consciously and deliberately focus your attention on doing a specific activity. And I think all of these are problems. First, you need a process. And my question to you is, do you have a process, a repeatable process, some kind of tool that tonight we're going to be learning about, the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner? Do you have a repeatable system that allows you to plan in a way that is effective and efficient? And are you aware of how long it will take you to complete a task? Have you learned how to consciously choose the task that you're going to work on? Are you deliberately focusing your attention on important things? Or are you looking at things that will not matter, the novel, the less hard, the more fun things? Are you willing to learn to consciously choose the tasks so that you can then deliberately focus your attention? And this is hard. There are so many distractions, and there's so much that comes in at it that it's hard to deliberately focus. In fact, we don't even know how. We've gotten so used to the clutter and the interruptions and the constant chaos that somehow we almost like it. And it was very hard to sit down and literally deliberately focus. It's a learned task, and I hope that I'll be able to help you with that. And this is the absolute key. If you want to dramatically increase your productivity, time management is about getting things done, which means you have to focus on one specific task until it is completely finished. Let me say that again. You have to deliberately focus your attention, all of your effort, all of your focus, all of your concentration on one task at a time until you've started it and finished it. And that's one of the things we're going to go over and over again, is how long can you focus your attention? Somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. That's it. We go on mental vacation. I would say that the average attention span is somewhere less than 7 minutes. But if you have a task to do, like we all do, and you wake up in the morning and you have this mental agenda of what you want to accomplish, can you deliberately focus your attention on just that one task until it's completely done? And I think that is the hardest part of efficiency, because here's what happens, is I pick up that task and I'm now deeply engrossed in it, and I'm working on it for 5 or 6 minutes, and then all of a sudden there's another file on my desk with a piece of paper on top of it, and that piece of paper distracts me and says, oh, Allyson, you forgot to do this task. It may be an important task or a meaningless task, but as soon as I look over and start focusing on this, I've lost my focus on the task that I had been working on. And so you can't do that. If you go from this task not finished to this task not finished, you don't move forward. You're using your time poorly. The only way to improve your time management is to start and finish a task, one task at a time. And you have to be able to do that within what we call your attentional bandwidth, which is 2 seconds to 20 minutes. So let's move on. You've got this 1% going on. What do you do at that first 7 minutes in the evening? If you're taking notes, the most important question that you can ask during this 7 minutes is, what is my goal for tomorrow? I assure you there were years, 40 years, 50 years, that I never stopped to take 7 minutes to think and ask myself, what is my goal for tomorrow? Now, at most business meetings, you sit down in December and you plan out what your goal is for the year, but it's 12 months away. The reality is the best goal you can set is, what is my goal for tomorrow. What do I want to accomplish in the next 24 hours? And it doesn't matter if you're a corporate executive, a mother, a father, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a missionary. We all have this 24-hour framework, and every day I want to have a purpose in life. I want to be deliberately and consciously choosing the things that I will set a goal for, because if you don't set a goal towards anything, that will be your goal for the day. It doesn't really matter if you intentionally set it or don't set it. At the end of the day, you will have reached some kind of goal, an unimportant goal, or something that you've consciously chosen. Well, how does that work? We encourage you to take your smartphone, whatever that is, and really set it for 7 minutes. So I use a timer on my smartphone. I set it for 7 minutes. I hit go. I turn the phone over so I can't see how much time is going by. And I take 7 minutes to think. And we could do an entire webinar on what you do in that 7 minutes, because I have to set a timer to even set some time aside. So this is at night. I set my phone for 7 minutes to think about what is my goal for tomorrow. So I answer this question. Last night, I was working on this very same project, and I asked, what's my goal for tomorrow? And my goal for tomorrow was to teach this class right now. And I have to say that when I'm doing things that I love, when I'm spending time on things that I think are important, not only to me, but important to the hundreds of people that will see this live, and the absolute thousands of people that will see this over time, when I am doing my purpose, when I'm living out my purpose, which is sharing information that I believe can change lives, then that's time well spent. But last night, I had to ask, what is my goal for tomorrow? And my goal, I'm living it out right now. At the end of today, I will be able to say, yes, I have reached my goal for tomorrow. So set your timer for 7 minutes and think. Answer that question, what is my goal for tomorrow? And then I believe you can take nothing more than an ink pen and some time to write down to answer that question. So in the evening, I answer, what is my goal for tomorrow? In the morning, I take my pen and I say, how can I accomplish that goal? So in the evening, what is the goal? In the morning, the 7 minutes, how can I accomplish that goal? So we're going to go through that in a great deal of detail starting right now. In order to accomplish a goal where it'll be efficient, you have to have a written daily plan of action. If you came away with nothing more than this one statement, that you need to have something with your game plan on it, that'd be enough. So you really use any kind of paper that you want. Now this is the planner. Let's see if I can get it down here. This is the type of planner that we use. It's something where I can literally write down my plan of action and hold it in my hand. I will say that mental plan of action is meaningless, that it has to be in writing. It has to be something that you're interested in doing. Without a written daily plan of action, let me share with you what used to happen to me. Is that I'd wake up, I'd get in the shower, and I'd think, okay, here are the things that I want to accomplish today. These are my goals. These are the tasks I want to focus on. And I'd hurriedly get ready, and I'd hop in my car, and I'd fasten my seatbelt, and I'd drive to the office with these mental plans of everything that I was going to accomplish. And as soon as I stepped foot in that office, a fire drill would start. And rather than even knowing what I wanted to do, everything that was in my mind literally would sweep out. And at the end of the day, what would happen is I'd hop in my car, I'd fasten my seatbelt back, and I would have accomplished nothing. And when that happens, those mental plans, and you get home and you've done nothing, there's this enormous feeling of stress and anxiety that comes along with that. By having a written daily plan of action that is in some kind of concrete form, you don't have to worry about when that fire drill happens, because it's going to happen. There are going to be distractions. But when that distraction comes, it's going to not knock out everything else out of your mind. You can just look back at your daily plan and say, oh, here are the tasks that I was supposed to focus on. Now let's bring this down to reality. When you open your daily planner, this is why people have initially bought it. In 2006 or so, almost a decade ago, I created a rough draft of what this is today. because I actually have attention deficit disorder. I'm diagnosed with it. I'm actually medicated for it. I bet if you know me, that's not a huge surprise, but the reason I share that is that I'm in here with you. I know that life is busy and that there's a lot going on, and I don't want you to think that I have all the answers, but what I do have are tools that can help me get through a day. Now, you can download this for free off of our website. It's the7minutelife.com/tools, or you can just go to the7minutelife.com and navigate over to the tools page, and you'll see this right at the top. It's called the Daily Progress Report. Again, if you're taking notes, this is the single page that will allow you to create a daily written plan of action. So let me start from the very beginning of how this works. When you have taken those 7 minutes and you know what your goal is, so you know what your goal is, you have your goal for tomorrow, and you walk in the morning and you take 7 minutes to come up, take 7 minutes to come up with ideas and tasks that will allow you to accomplish this goal. Just like any other time management tool, you have to plan ahead, you have to clarify, set objectives, and prioritize what you want to do. What's different is that we have this tool. Now let me back up. This is what most people have. They have some sort of a to-do list. And whether it's on an envelope or a sheet of paper, they come in and they say, okay, I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things on my to-do list, which in a day's time would not be bad. And they think, okay, I'm going to go in, I've got my little envelope or my sticky note, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to do these 10 things. Well, here's where we get confused, because a to-do list is an important part of time management, knowing what you need to do. But the problem with most people's to-do list is they can't take action between 2 seconds and 20 minutes to start and completely finish their to-dos. So the key is having a to-do list that's somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes, you can start and completely finish that task. So when I'm coaching people one-on-one as executive trainer, one of the very first things I'll have them do is, before we get into any of this, is I'll have them make out a to-do list of what they think they need to do tomorrow. Literally, really in their day, what do they have to do? And I'll ask them to come up with about 10 things, both at work and at home. And they'll write out these 10 things, and then I'll ask them, how many of these things on your to-do list can you do within 2 seconds to 20 minutes? And this is typical of what happened. They'll say, well, I can do this one, and I can do this one, this one, this one, and this one. So I can do 5 out of the 10 and actually get them done. But what that leaves them is 5 tasks that are going to take them a longer time. Anything that you can't do within 20 minutes is not a to-do. It is actually a project. If you have a project on your to-do list, you can't do it. You can't do a project. For example, today I was going to teach this webinar. And so that was my goal for today. Gratefully, I'd been working for about 20 hours on information to put this together. But delivering this webinar is not something I can do. I have to break down the webinar into all kinds of things. I had to create the slides. I had to send out the emails. I had to register the people. We then had to send out follow-up emails, check our technology for today, and now we are doing it. All of these things were little tiny projects to make this one thing happen. Well, if I got up this morning and said, okay, now I'm going to do the webinar, and had done no prep work, had not completed these things, I would have never had it. So this is what people do. They walk in with an envelope that they think are to-dos. A to-do is only something between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. Everything else on your list is a project. And that's where time management and efficiency gets hung up. Because with every project, guess what you need? With every project, you need a process. You need some kind of process to break that down into different steps. Into steps that are within 2 seconds to 20 minutes that you can actually do. One of the things I'm going to teach you today is not to walk into the office with projects, rather walk into the office with what we call micro actions. A micro action is very different than a project. A micro action is something you can do. Now let me give you an example. Today I was teaching a webinar. What we want people to do is to come up with what we call our 5 before 11 list. And you'll see it right here. 5 before 11 are the tiniest steps that you can take to accomplish the things on your to-do list. One of the things is you probably can't get 10 things done. So we want to narrow that down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actions that you can actually do. And the reason we want to narrow it down is because if you have 10 things and you leave the office doing only 5 of them, you never get to enough. You're never quite done. And so the next day, all the hard things, these projects roll over because they're not something you can do. They're projects that need to be broken down further. You can't do a project. And I think that's what drives us crazy, are these things that are actually project roll over from day to day to day, and they never seem to get done because projects can be overwhelming and they just need to be broken down into smaller pieces. Now, this 5 before 11 list is 5 micro actions that you can accomplish before 11 a.m. And I have a lot of people say, well, Allyson, is that 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.? I happen to be a person that works at night, so for me it would be 11 p.m. It's really just a catchphrase that within a specific allotted time, you're going to take 5 tiny steps forward. And we'll get to the power of that in just a moment. But for me, let me just give you an example. To me, this morning, I had to make a call to one person. That took about 5 minutes. I also had a problem on my computer, which everybody loves that, and that actually took about 40 minutes. So that wasn't a to-do. It was just something that basically made me angry. You know, I just sat there, waited, and those are the kind of things that happen in your life. So that wasn't something I wanted to do, but I was glad to get it over. And the only other thing I had to do was this webinar. So here I come at the end of the day, and I've accomplished these things, and they have happened. So now you can kind of see what a written plan of action is. Most people have a to-do list. They come in and they can only do 3 or 4 within 20 minutes. So the other 5 are actually projects. Those projects seem to roll over day after day after day because they overwhelm you and you're too busy. And so what has to happen is that you have to take every action that you want to accomplish, break it into something that is called a micro action, which you can accomplish within 20 minutes, and then place these micro actions into your 5 before 11 list. And let me tear this off, and we will continue on. So what's the point of this 5 before 11 list? Why is it so incredibly important? 5 before 11 is important for this reason. As we go back to this sheet, what if you were able to break down your to-do list into things that you can actually do? And you knew what your goal was for the day, and you knew the 5 steps that you wanted to take, the 5 tasks that you wanted to complete, and you actually wrote them down, and then you did them. These are tiny things. Some of them may take 2 minutes. I've got a call. Something may take 20 minutes. I need to set the agenda, but there are things that you can actually start and finish. If you were able to just start this, again, you can download this from our tools page. Just go to the7minutelife.com, go to tools, and download the daily progress report. It's free. If you were to take 5 before 11 and actually accomplish those tasks over 1 week, 5 tasks times 7 days, you would accomplish 35 tasks in just 1 week. Doing them, not letting them roll over from day to day to day. But the 7-minute life is different than that. The 7-minute life is built on a 90-day platform. And we get that question a lot. Why 90 days? Well, corporate earnings are recorded every 90 days, which is important. I was in sales for 30 years. But more important than that to me is that nature is on 90 days. Right now, you can go from winter, spring, summer, fall, and you'll go back to winter, spring, summer, fall. There are 4 seasons, which is roughly a 90-day period. Now imagine if you began to implement this tool, not a thought, not a what do I need to do, but the tool for how you did it. What if you did make a decision, a conscious decision, to complete 5 high-value activities for 90 days? I think you're beginning to see, if you had it planned out, you would actually accomplish 450 tasks in 90 days. And it gets bigger and bigger. Multiply that by 10 employees, and you multiply that by 10, and your company now is accomplishing 4,500 tasks, or multiply that, or multiply that. But the point is, individuals or companies have to have a clear goal, not only for a year, but for the day. And they have to translate that goal into tasks they can do, and then they have to do them. Let that soak in for a minute. If you were to accomplish 5 before 11 for a week, during your time, the 24 hours, you'd accomplish 35 tasks. And instead of hopping in the car and fastening your seatbelt with this mental platform of what you're going to do and walking in the office and having everything just wiped away from your brain, you would have a single sheet of paper that would have the 5 things down, so that when something happened during your day, you'd be able to look straight back at your plan and say, oh yeah, I need to get back on task for this. And if each one of these tasks take less than 20 minutes, you're just not looking at a lot of time, because there's going to be interruption. But imagine what this would feel like. If you said, here are the 5 things I'm going to commit to doing, deliberately focusing on, and you do them, you get to enough. The power of improving your time management is not doing a lot of things that don't matter. It's about doing things that move you forward in life, whether personally or work-wise. They move you forward toward being the person that you want to be. If nothing else comes out of this seminar, you need a written plan of action, and you have to have some process to do this. Incredibly powerful concept. The 5 before 11 can change your life. Now, moving on to the different steps of what we want to talk to, the 7-minute Life Daily Progress Report is not just about getting things done. It's a lot more than that, because my life does not revolve around just doing things at work. My life is life. And I do a lot of studying. And if you look here at this section called 7-Minute Life Connections, the number one thing towards happiness in the world is staying socially connected with people you love and have friends with. It's getting out. It's having time to have conversations that are deep and meaningful to you. It's reconnecting and laughing with your friends. So after you've written out your 5 before 11, why not take this same sheet of paper and say, who are the 2 or 3 people I'm going to call today? Is it going to be my friend that's coming in from out of town, or someone I want to have coffee with? Or is it going to be one of the people in my team that I need to touch base with? Who are you going to stay connected with? This is a society of text messages and emails. It's time to reconnect face to face. You also have a place to put your unfinished tasks. And these may be simple things like, I need to go get milk. I need to make an appointment with the dentist. You know, all of those little things. The daily progress report also lets you keep track of what you spend. I think you can see that what this is it's a platform to create a repeatable process for the things that you do every day. So just like my Fitbit, I can track ahead of time what I want to do. The next thing that we see, I created this because I was in sales. So I want you to see something, and then I'm going to back up and say how else you can use it. In sales, the more people you talk to and tell about your products and services, the more sales you're going to have. So in my industry, I found out that, or I was told that the average person in my industry made 9 outgoing phone calls a day. And so at the age of 24, I thought, well, if I doubled that and made 18 phone calls a day, I would be more successful. 9 phone calls for a salesperson in a 9-hour day is 1 call per hour. And I thought at 24, well, what happens if I make 18 calls, two phone calls per hour? And I thought that was very doable. And our business responded to that. So if you're in sales, this is a pretty simple tool to say, hey, I can do a little more than I was doing. Or even if you're making 9, what if you went to 11 or 12? If you were not in sales or not in a place, why not write down who you talk to and what you accomplish on every day? And let me tell you why that's important. I have a stack of these books going back probably to 2008. Before that, I was just printing off the sheets one at a time. Everything that I talk about or do every day is written in this book, either on this page, which is the back page, or the front page. Every note, every telephone call, every single person I've talked to, what I've talked to them about, everything are in these notebooks. And when you know that everything's going to be in one safe place, you don't have to worry about losing it. Let me give you an example. This is the planner I'm working with right now. And I think as you see here, you can see that I have notes everywhere. And these sticky notes are actually placeholders. I try not to use any sticky notes at all. These are just bookmarks for me. But how great would it be if you had to remember sometime that you did something and you couldn't remember who or the phone number or what, and you could just go back to your stack. Even if it was 3 or 4 years ago, you could go back and say, oh, on this date, I talked to this person about this thing. And it'd always be in one book. I don't have to find all these different things. So regardless of if you're using this for a sales or if you're, I don't know, an entrepreneur, stay-at-home mom, doctor, lawyer, how great would it be to have one place to have every note, even if this was some kind of to-do list or grocery list or whatever you want to use that for. And then I got even more serious about what I was doing with the planner. I thought, if life is really what life is, and if I want to be different tomorrow than I am today, then I don't want to just manage my time. I want to improve the quality of time I have. At the bottom of the daily progress report, when you're learning how to use these things, you'll see what we call psychological triggers. For me to be in the best physical shape of my life, I know that I have to do certain things. One of them is that I need to drink 8-ounce glasses of water per day. Well, just like the Fitbit tracks that, what happens if I just start marking these off? And I get to 8 glasses a day. What if I find myself at 4 o'clock and I'm here at 5? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is pick up the glass of water that is always on my desk, and I'm going to drink all of it. Simple things that you can do. When you take your vitamins in the morning, why not put it in a tiny 8-ounce glass of water? And as soon as you wake up, take your vitamins with an 8-ounce glass of water. You're very dehydrated when you first get up, so start out your day with a glass of water. Every time you see that you're falling behind, 8 ounces is just not very much. Stay hydrated. If you want to be efficient and more productive, make sure you get the amount of sleep that you need. Are you exercising? Are you taking time to reflect? Are you reading a book? One of the best time management tips I can give you is to make a decision to read 10 pages of a book every day. Now that may take a little longer than 20 minutes, but 10 pages of book every day, if you became a reader, 10 pages a day in 30 days, which is a month, you'd read a 300-page book every month. Can you imagine what that would be like after a year? I'm an avid reader. It also tracks what you ate for lunch, any snacks. The bottom line that you want to get to is this very last question that if you've been using this for a long time, I think a lot of people don't see. At the very bottom of the page, the question is, did I do what I said I would do today? This is a great question. Most people come in with a to-do list, 10 things on it, 5 they can actually do, 5 of them projects that they can't do. They get to the end of the day and they ask themselves, did I do what I said I would do today? And the answer is no. It's no because they were set up for no before they even walked in the office. You can't do a project. You certainly can't do 10 projects. But how different is it on your time management skills if you've broken things down into these tiny micro actions and you walk in with those 5 and you accomplish those 5, and at the end of the day you ask yourself, did I do what I said I would do today? And the answer is yes. The power of getting to enough is one of the biggest benefits, I would guess, of improving your time management, of understanding tools and processes that can help you get exactly where you want to go. And the crazy part about this is that the daily progress report, which is, I guess I should explain this. There could be some of you that are not familiar. This planner is also a 90-day book. In every center page, there are 90 of these in the book. Why is that? Because people don't need necessarily a calendar. I keep my calendar on my smartphone. What they need is something they can write down their plans, their goals. And the beauty of this is we're just asking you to take 1% of your time, 7 minutes in the evening to ask, what is my goal for tomorrow? And 7 minutes in the morning to say, what 5 steps do I need to get there? This isn't some hard platform. You can do it with just an ink pen and a piece of paper. Now, I am happy to say that for the younger generation, or for those of you that love technology, the 7-minute planner app is out. Let me write that down. It is 7-minute planner. And depending on when you're watching this, it's currently available as an iPhone app. But if you're watching this several months from now, it also is coming out in Android. For many people, though, they like to start out with a piece of paper, but I know a ton of you want to do this very same thing, which is what the app is, the very same amount of planning in an app that you can hold in your phone and it will sync to your tablet. Regardless, the whole point is time management in 1% of your life. That's incredibly powerful to me. And so as I move down to this let me get this off. I'm going to take this off. I was down to my last sheet of paper. Okay, and I'm going to put up one more live recordings. You got to love it. I've been through all my paper, so here's the last sheet. It really is fun to do these live. You never know exactly what's going to happen. Okay. So, 1% of your time. I think that this is the most important thing we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about several other things before the end. Written plan of action, 5 before 11, taking 7 minutes to do that. I did want to give you an example of what a daily progress report would look like for me several years ago. And this will be in the handout that I send to you, or that you can download on the page that you're watching this on. I would have come in that day with 5 before 11, things that I could accomplish between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. So one of the things is to call a prospect. The second thing was to call a person who had been referred to me. The third thing was to call and thank the person that gave the referral. The fourth thing was just to set up an appointment with someone. And the fifth thing was to finish the manager recommendations for the appointments I had. Now, all of these names have been changed. These are not real names, but this is a real sheet of what I did on this day, April 26, 2010. So I came in with a very clear this was done. I knew what my goals were. I'd come in with a very clear understanding of what I wanted to accomplish. And on this day, I actually got a hold and completed 4 of these tasks. I called to try to reach Bill, not his real name, but I didn't reach him. So out of those 5 that I'd planned, I accomplished 4 of them. I also had life connections, and it's great. I was talking to prospective clients and referrals, and I was talking with my mentor that day, and I actually got a hold of 2 of those people. I especially love talking with my mentor. I think everybody should have a mentor. And then I had a lot of unfinished tasks that came up, and some of these were little bitty, like send a 1099 to someone and to answer a question and to talk to somebody about something simple. And I accomplished all of those. I think you remember, though, that I said I was in sales, and being in sales, the average person, I had been told, made 9 calls. That day, I actually made 19. And down here, I would write my personal calls that didn't count. As a person in sales, if you're in sales, the more calls you make, the more money you make, the more activity you have, the more revenues you have. But this platform is not just for that. There's probably a part of this planner that you've never noticed before, and it doesn't matter if you're in sales or if you're a writer like I am. There's a little piece here. Let me make sure you can see it. This is the daily progress report. It's inside the planner that I'm holding. The daily progress report has these little hash marks out beside. It goes all the way down. My guess is you've never even noticed these hash marks. And you may be saying to yourself, well, why are those important? Those are important because I want to track my progress. I want to make sure I get credit. The power of a check mark is more powerful than you can imagine. If I do something that wasn't even on my to-do list, I will write it down just so I can mark it off or check it off because I want credit. When I actually take action that's positive, I'm filled with endorphins and dopamine and things that motivate me and get me moving again. And so why are these little hash marks here? Well, they're an ability to keep track of what you do. Now, I was in sales when I just showed you that. I'm not in sales anymore. I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. I'm an executive coach. Well, you say, am I in sales or not? The answer is probably yes, I am, because I still need to speak and write and train and coach. But what if you're a stay-at-home mom? Are you still in sales? Yeah, you probably still are, whether it's raising money for the fundraiser, for the sports, or going to your kids' basketball games or your Bible study, whatever it is. All of these things have value. They just have different values. So I created a tracking system, and you would be able to adapt this to any industry that you're in. In sales, I got 1 point, 1 hash part, 1 check mark up here when I attempted to call someone. I got another point if I got a hold of that person. When I was prospecting, I got 3 points. If I talked to that person, I got another 3 points. If I met with someone face-to-face, I got 5 points. If I had a long conversation with a client, I got 5 points. If I went to a luncheon or some kind of community event, I got 5 points. And if I taught a class, I got a point for every person. So today I'm getting hundreds of points, and that's awesome because at the end of the day, my goal is 25 points. If you hit that goal, guess what? You're done. What if you're a mom? What could those things be? Again, going to exercise could be 5 points. Going to bed on time could be 5 points. Eating breakfast could be 3 points. Having a conversation with your children could be 25 points. And it's not like it's a legalistic thing. It's just that at some point I want to get credit. I love this because if I'm at 6,000 steps and I'm trying to get to 10,000, I can see it at 3 o'clock and just go take a couple more loops. Tracking is important. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but tracking your time and getting credit is important. So why is the 7-minute life so different? It's radically different. Most people wake up and they deal with today, and I know this is hard to see. But they come in and they wake up with today, and again, they fasten their seatbelt, they go to work, they get nothing done, they fasten their seatbelt, they come home, and they're filled with stress and anxiety, and they say, I don't have enough time, I didn't get anything done. And that's a problem because they're starting on the wrong end of the spectrum of time management. This is what we call the 7-minute solution flow chart. It's also on our tools page. We have over 20 tools. And over the next several months, I hope to be teaching webinars just like this so that you can really fully explore those. But go ahead and download the 7-minute solution flow chart, and you'll see that we do things a much different way. If you want your time to matter and to be meaningful to you, it doesn't start in the morning when you're in a fire drill. It starts by stepping out of the noise and understanding your priorities, not just your priorities for a day, but your personal priorities. What is most important to you as a person? What's most important to you in your heart? The next step is understanding your purpose in life. Why have you been placed here? What are your strengths? What are your gifts and talents? How has God chosen for you to change the world, to make it a better place? Where are you going to find meaning in your life? Where are you going to give meaning in your life? And then creating life goals and creating a timeline for your life, and then breaking those things down into 90-day segments, and then breaking them down into things you can do. This is a reverse funnel. Most people look at today and say, today, can I fulfill my priorities? Not if you don't know what they are. So you've got to start with priorities. It's like a big funnel that comes in. The priorities are the biggest part. Purpose, life goals, coming down to today. Today is not where time management happens. So let's go to yet another place. In the daily planner, we've showed you how to work on the time using the daily progress report, but when you get your planner, it actually doesn't start with a daily progress report. It starts here. It starts with the page called Priorities. And it's a one-page piece. You can learn more about that by watching our other videos. But as I hold this up, when was the last time you took a sheet of paper? Again, we don't tell you, go figure out your priorities. We give you training and videos and the tools to rank these things. When was the last time you looked at things that were important? Love, friendships, the arts, community, happiness, meaningful work, freedom, adventure, learning, fun, passion. Which of these things are important to you? Faith, philanthropy, money, nature, competence, joy, efficiency. The list goes on and on. The tools are there. This is why the 7-minute life is not called the 7-minute time management. It's called the 7-minute life because I don't care how much I can get done in a day if I'm not doing things that are in alignment and congruent with what I want my life to be. When you get your daily planner, if you have it, start where it begins. Rediscover your priorities in life. What is most important to you? And I'm just going to give you an example of my priorities, and you can see that I go through it and I check the things that are important to me, and you'll see this in some of our training videos. And then I go back through and I circle them, and then I kind of cheat rather than having 10. I connect some of them together that I think go together, and then I rank them. And I'd like to just share with you these. I'm not sure you can read them. But my number one priority is faith and wisdom. It's something that's very important to me. And if that's the top of the funnel, that's the very top of my funnel. And as I go through life, I want my time to be filtered through this priority of faith and wisdom. My second priority is family, love, and friendships. Remember, happiness and joy come from our social connections. We are meant as people to be connected, so family, love, and friendships. Number 3, health, nutrition, exercise, and hydration. Important to me. Am I taking time to exercise, to eat, to sleep, to stay hydrated? Number 4 is to learn and grow. Am I taking time to read, to create material, to teach these webinars? Number 5 is freedom and peace. Really important to me. Is my time tying me down and making me anxious, or is it giving me freedom to do the things that are important? Number 6, I want laughter and joy in my life. And if we have a team of about 7 independent contractors, it's just crazy around here. If you are not celebrating the tiny wins that we have every day, we're laughing and we are celebrating life, not being enclosed with it. I value creativity. I want to have the freedom to create. The 8th priority is teaching and making a difference. And if you're watching this and staying with it through the out, that's what I believe all of us want, is we want our lives to matter. We want to make a difference in the world. Number 9, order and time. Time is very important to me. And finally, financial security. And initially when I was doing this, financial security was not on my list of priorities. And I thought, Allyson, it has to be. I have to take care of my family. I have to make sure that I am financially secure at some point. And I think not having that on my list of priorities would be, I don't know, naive, I guess. So now you've seen my priorities, and the benefit of that and why it comes along with your time management is once you've created this at the front of your 7-minute life daily planner, and you look at these things and then you look at your calendar on your smartphone, how many of these things are congruent? How much of your time are you actually spending working on your health, or spending time with your family, or spending time laughing out loud? And I find that most people, their priorities are not at all congruent with how they are spending their time. And further, going into understanding your purpose, do you know why you've been placed on this earth? Do you know what your strengths are? Do you know what you love in life? Why are you here? What is going to bring you fulfillment and meaning and significance in life? If we don't have that, what good does it do to do anything? Why would working on anything matter? And it doesn't have to mean that every task that you do, regardless of what job you're in, can have meaning if you're doing it for someone else. Purpose is how we use our gifts and talents to change the world. Purpose is how we serve others. And I will say that we believe that love is the foundation of purpose. And let me hold this up again. When I say love is the purpose of the foundation, when we're trying to discover our purpose, my purpose in life is, I believe your purpose is founded and grounded on what you love in life. What is it that you love in life? Are you a leader? Are you someone that loves to be a little league coach? Are you a person of faith? Are you a person that loves to inspire and educate? Are you a person of hospitality? What is it that you love? And what are purpose words that might come out of that? My purpose in life is to share hope. That's my mission, is to educate, motivate, and inspire people. My purpose is to share hope. Why is time management so involved? Because time is life. Every moment, every breath that you take, you're either moving forward towards something you believe in, or you're stuck. And it's understanding your priorities and your purpose that will give you that inner drive to move forward even when things are hard. And it's only after understanding your priorities and your purpose that you can actually understand your goals. Let's see why that's not moving. Live television. Okay, well, let's end that and go back. All right, so we'll try that one more time. You have to love live television. Okay, so we're going to go back through all this. I'm sure you're catching all of this. So it's only after you discover your purpose that you can set goals. Goals are very important. We've already talked about the fact that you have to have 90-day goals. Gracious. That you have to have 90-day goals. And then those 90-day goals will lead to motivation. The 7-minute life has to have you doing things. In order to improve your time management, you have to have a process of planning, to be deliberate, to focus on accomplishing something from start to finish. And start to finish involves movement. It involves motivation. Motivation is a verb that literally means to move. When you're motivated, it literally moves you forward. It's interesting when you go way back to where motivation comes from, it's taking action. It's being motivated to move towards something. It causes motion. And once you get that flywheel of activity going, it will continue to move you forward. Motivation is an inner drive for action. I can't stand here and say, here's all this great stuff, rah, rah, have better time management. Why? Because life is hard. Life is just really hard. I became very critically sick in 2012. Was not expected to live past October of 2013. I've really struggled to gain back the things that are important to me. Why? Because I had an inner drive to get better, to find more health, to get more fit, and even to pull out of things in a mental basis, to get back in the game. And all that leads to finally having the desire to do something. And where does all that begin? All of that begins with setting a goal of what you want to accomplish tomorrow and what are the 5 steps that will get you there, the 5 before 11. This daily progress report is where it all started. It's in this little binder, and it looks like this, and it's something that I can actually take in my purse. It's small. We also have it in an 8.5 by 11. It's called the Daily Planner. Why is it important, and why are we teaching this? Because I believe people are looking for a process and a structure. I think by now it's important for you to understand that a mental plan of action counts for nothing, that we need a daily written plan of action. That you want to be able to track your progress, just like these Fitbits, and I hope if you're watching this 10 years from now, you'll know what a Fitbit is, but it was the beginning of helping us track our health. That you want to focus on things that matter, that you want to accomplish 5 high-quality tools before 11 o'clock. It's a capture tool. This is the only place I write notes. The only place. If I lose it, I've got, 20 of them in my closet, and I can find out exactly what I need to know. It's one safe location, and every day you can plan your time on a single sheet of paper. Very powerful tool. Do I believe that you can improve your time management in 7 minutes? I absolutely do. And I know in this class, we've gone through several things that I believe will be helpful, but I know that there is a lot more that needs to be learned. I think one of the things that you are seeing here is that it's time to get rid of a to-do list. What you think is a to-do list, or in the past has been a to-do list, has actually been a project list. How do you move away from that? I want to actually teach entire sections on motivation, because I believe motivation is a new definition of time management. What would that mean to you? To move from stuck, to moving forward. It's a new definition. I also think you're going to want to know more about the fact that all the time I hear I never have enough time. And that is a really serious statement. I never have enough time. If day after day after day after day, you never have enough time to do the things, it becomes crushing. There is pain involved in not having enough time. And it comes out in stress and anxiety that affects people in ways that I can't even begin to explain in this short course. But I know people experience it. And I also know that I wish I had more time to help people understand that ADD, like I have, and that even if people aren't diagnosed with it, I think that a lot of people feel like they are just pulled in so many directions. They're distracted all of the time. And they want to understand about how they can deal with distractions and overcome procrastination. And I tried to make those big, but here's the list again. I've given you what I can today in an hour, but my guess is you want to learn more. And so I hope you'll watch a lot more of our classes, because I know people want to improve their time management. They want to stop using a to-do list. They want to be motivated. They want to have time to do those 5 things that can be in alignment with their priorities and their purpose. It can move them forward toward becoming the person they want to be. and that my guess is you want to learn how to deal with your distractions in life. Now I'm going to cover this up, and I'm now going to come into a very different piece of this class. There we go. And I want to share with you something that I do believe can help you go where you want to go. This is I think that when people look at things like we've done today, and I believe that this class today in the last 55 minutes has been quite powerful. We've talked about things that are very important, and people look at time management strategies as something that are unattainable. And I believe if you create tools and you utilize tools and concepts and ideas, which we call strategies, not just thought process, but actual plans, just like any kind of plan, a battle plan, an ability to go from where you are today to where you want to be, then it takes effort. This is a new class that we've created that is 75 minutes in length. It's an hour and 15 minutes, and it's $99. And I know that these things will be useful to you because of all the people that are already using them. And as I go through this, when you buy the $99 course, it's an online training course. And it looks just like this. As soon as you buy it in our shopping cart, you click the buy button and an email is sent to you that takes you directly to this page. Thank you for your purchase. You bought the time management strategies for 2016. It is 75 minutes of online learning. And I want to share this with you because there's going to come a point in your life where either you choose to stay stuck or you choose to make some decisions to invest in yourself. And while this says 2016, it's going to roll over and be updated year after year after year. Are you ready to make an investment? Because this is what this class looks like. It is a live class that's been recorded that talks about the very problems that we've just talked about. The first two sections are a welcome and an overview of what we're going to talk about. The next two sections talk about the philosophy of improving time management in just 7 minutes, and the fact that your life can be different with micro actions, taking tiny steps. As we go on through this class, the next segment is why 7 minutes? And there's a lot more to learn about what the 7-minute theory is. Number 4, how to get rid of the to-do list. We really haven't had time to talk about how do you really move from a to-do list to a daily written plan of action. The 5th course is Motivation and Inner Drive, the new definition of time management. And I am positive that if you're watching this, that you want to get back that feeling of having time to understand that your life matters, to reconnect with your purpose and your priorities and your passion, to believe that your life is significant and that you have a life that is meaningful and can help other people. And you can only do that when you have time to do that. Number 6, that question that I hear, that statement, I never have enough time. Huge. We need to acknowledge the pain and stress and anxiety of not having enough time and how to work towards fixing that. Number 7 is a tool we haven't even talked about today. It's the 15-minute increment tracking worksheet. There are only 24 hours in a day. How are you going to find time to do those 5 things? One of the most powerful tools we've come up with. The 15-minute increment tracking worksheet can change your life. Number 8, managing attention deficit disorder. How do you deal with the distractions, the procrastination, and the lack of attention to get even 5 things done? And the last 2 sections, prioritizing your most important tasks. It's really hard to know when you have a desk full of file folders and a ton of projects to do and a ton of things personally to do. How do you prioritize those things so you can create those 5 tiny micro actions. And the last segment, number 10, is moving from chaos to productivity by using a daily written plan of action day after day after day. In my first book, The 7-Minute Difference, I wrote, change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. Let me read that one more time. Change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. Almost everyone that I speak to, whether at a corporate event or an annual conference or in a training room filled with 75 people or in a personal retreat with 10 people or in a one-on-one coaching call, they've hired me or brought me to that event because they're stuck in some fashion. They may have a very successful sales team, but they want them to enjoy their work, to embrace it, to become more engaged. Or if I'm going to some kind of nonprofit organization, they want to re-inspire people to take hold of what they believe is meaningful and matter. But the problem is they're stuck. Change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. And I know those of you that are watching this have invested an hour of your life, and I'm going to ask you to invest another 75 minutes of your life to prioritize, organize, and simplify your world. When you look at those circles around prioritize, it's like a swirling chaos that goes around your mind day after day after day, and you can see that there's one dot in the middle that's green right there. That's what we're searching for. We're searching for that priority, that purpose. And the 7-Minute Life will help you, I think, understand what those priorities are. And then we're going to move you forward and help you organize your life using real tools. You already know what time management was. You even know what you needed to do to improve your time management. You just didn't have the tools and the understanding. So the second step is we're going to help you organize all of those thought processes. And we're going to help you simplify your life down to where you can get to the end of the day and say, I've done enough. And not only have I done enough, but what I've done today mattered. And it was meaningful, and it was fulfilling, and it helped me be recalibrated into alignment with my priorities and my purpose. At least part of the things that I did today made the world a better place. And so what I'm going to ask you to do as you finish up this class is I'm going to ask you to make a $99 investment. I'm going to ask you to go to our store and to click on time management strategies in our store and to buy it. It's $99. It's 12 videos. It's 75 minutes. So I guess you can understand that the videos are somewhere between 2 minutes and 12 minutes long. We got to stay within that attentional bandwidth. I know you're watching on these courses, but are you really ready to decide to change? It's time to decide. There just has to be that point where you say, enough is enough. I want my life back. I want something to be different. I want to be different tomorrow than I am today. So I want to conclude this webinar by just saying thank you for being here, for taking that hour of your time out of your life. And I hope it'll be a good investment for you because tomorrow is going to come. And I hope tomorrow you will know what your goal is because you've taken 7 minutes tonight to ask, what is my goal for tomorrow? But more importantly, 90 days is going to be here. In fact, you're going to blink your eyes and 90 days will be here. And either you can be the person you are today or you can make decisions and choose to be the person that you can be 90 days from today. Thank you for taking your time. I'm Allyson Lewis with the 7-Minute Life, and I really hope that you'll invest in yourself, that you'll subscribe to our website, that you'll like us on Facebook, that you'll share this information with your friends, because I know people are wanting time for life, and that is what we do. If you have a need for a speaker, for someone to do training, for someone to speak at your nonprofit event, or if you're looking for executive coaching, that's what I do. I want to say thank you, and I hope to see you again soon. Welcome to the 7-Minute Life.